What's going on, fight fans? Good Sunday to you. Like a lot of you, I watched the Mayweather McGregor fight last night. Uh, the fight was over with probably about 1:33 when they got done with interviews and everything last night, and I was whooped after that fight was over. So I called it a night. Decided to get up today and do my video. Uh, like most of you, I took Mayweather to win by TKO, which he did in the 10th round. I actually picked him to stop Conor in the 11th round. I picked him to stop him on his feet, probably due to cuts. Let's touch on some of the undercard real quick. If you watch any of the undercard, Tabiti opened up the fight and beat my guy, uh, Steve Cunningham. The next fight actually ended up being better than I thought. I thought that Badu Jack would beat Cleverly by UD, but he actually turned on some heat, cut Cleverly up, and end up stopping him. And now he is a light heavyweight champion, and he's saying that he wants either Andre Ward or Adonis Stevenson. But the fight that I would like to see is Bivol. I would love Bivol was actually supposed to get the fight with Nathan Cleverly, but for some reason that didn't pan out. Ended up being Cleverly against Badu Jack. So what I would like to actually see Badu Jack do is fight Bivol next and let him get a decent name on his resume. The co-feature Gervonta Davis. I didn't even realize until the night of the fight that Gervonta didn't even make weight, which I'm never okay with, but he put on a decent performance against Fonseca. They are talking about wanting a rematch, which I wouldn't be opposed to that because, in my opinion, I think that Fonseca tried to sell the end of that fight a little bit. Did Gervonta Davis hit him in the back of the head? He did, but if you looked at the punch when they showed it again in slow motion, it looked more like Gervonta's, like the bottom of his wrist, his left wrist hit him in the back of the head. And I'm not saying that that wouldn't hurt or sting, but when he pushed him off of him and pushed him down, I don't think that that did as much damage as our guy was trying to sell. I think he was trying to sell a disqualification. It didn't happen, but let's see Davis again. He's saying that that's his last fight at 130, and maybe if he's going to go up to lightweight, we can explore then what his options are. Now I'm about to get straight into the main event. Floyd Money Mayweather. Those first few rounds, in my opinion, were kind of shaky. Floyd could have had a game plan. He is a master of the sport, but he threw out if I remember right, 4 punches in the first round, and I didn't really care for that. I didn't really understand the strategy of him only throwing 4 punches. I thought that in the first round, Floyd would look to hit Conor with that straight left and get his respect early to let him know that he was sharp and his punches do have some sting behind them. Then you heard Floyd Sr. say, I think it was after the second round, that we're going to start picking it up in the fourth round just like we planned. And Floyd did start to pick it up. As far as McGregor in those first 4 rounds, I'm going to say McGregor did decent. I don't know if I want to go as far as to say he did good. Being a big boxing fan like I am, I still saw a lot of flaws in McGregor's game in there. Yes, did he pop Floyd with the jab? Yes, he hit him with some clean jabs. And I love the fact that McGregor was actually doing some decent body work, in there. But you can still tell that his boxing technique is not up to task. My opinion on the fight is this. I've listened to a lot of people talk over the last few hours with their shows and everything about, is Floyd Mayweather old? Was it all part of his plan? Was McGregor better than expected? I think that the answer is all of the above. I think that McGregor did actually look better in there than I expected. He didn't look overly sloppy. Now, I expected him to be real sloppy, but he had some type of composure about him. But you still can tell he would have a lot to learn to fight as a professional boxer. On the Floyd Mayweather side, I do think that Floyd had a plan, but I do think that Floyd actually showed signs that he has gotten old. It's been 23 months since he last fought. Floyd did not look sharp, in my opinion. He was missing a lot of shots. Shots that 4 years ago, and 4 years ago he'd have been 36 and past his prime, but still elite. He tore Robert Guerrero up. who was also a southpaw, a very good fighter. Floyd was very accurate with that straight right against Guerrero, and he still looked sharp, even though he was past his prime. Floyd still looked very sharp. I did not think that Floyd looked sharp in this fight. I think the ring rust showed. And I think that the fact that he's getting older began to show. Did his body still look good? Yes, it did. But his legs didn't look the same. Now, maybe some people are arguing that was part of his strategy. He didn't really want to move around a lot. He wanted to stay close to Conor to kind of give the fans a good fight, and that would be his better chance to knock Conor out. I honestly expected to see the Floyd that fought Arturo Gatti in there. I expected to see a Floyd who was sharp, who was throwing 3 and 4 punch combinations, and he would have cut Conor's face up. That's why I picked Floyd to win the fight by TKO in the 11th round. But what we got was still a pretty good Floyd, but a Floyd who this should absolutely be his last fight. He said before this would be his last fight. He said after the fight it will be his last fight, and it should be. I would take any decent welterweight or junior middleweight to actually beat Floyd at this point, and that's something that I've never said. I thought that he looked that rusty. So what Floyd needs to do is collect his check, deal with the IRS, get his taxes paid, and then just ride off in the sunset and keep promoting fights. As for Conor McGregor, I heard something actually this morning about there is talk that Showtime would love to put on a McGregor against Paulie Malignaggi fight on St. Patrick's Day. I wouldn't mind that fight. Now, people are saying that it would probably be good work for Conor. He probably would beat Paulie based upon the sparring that we saw. I'm not going to be so quick to say that. I'm going to say that if they did put on that fight, Paulie would definitely be in better shape. That would give him about 5 months to get back, to get his quickness back, to become sharp, and he could outpoint McGregor. The only chance McGregor would have, in my opinion, would be just like he had against Floyd. He would have to catch him with a shot early that would hurt him and get him out of there. And McGregor, if you have watched him fight in the UFC, has always showed stamina issues late in the fight. So a good fighter would definitely get him in those deep waters, and he would be tired. Now, I can tell you what I did notice. If he would have been in there with either Keith Thurman or Canelo Alvarez at junior middleweight, McGregor would have been out of there. A younger, hard punching fighter would not have had the issues that Floyd had. They would have got him out of there earlier, and the fight would have been over. But hey, as far as if you want to see another circus, let's see McGregor against Malignaggi in March. It would give McGregor also 5 months to kind of sharpen his game up. So that's all I really have on McGregor. We'll see where he goes from here. I'm sure he's not too upset because the man was guaranteed 30 million, and he gets a piece of the pay-per-view, and that could put him up in maybe the 60, 70 or more $1 million range. As for Floyd, I'll do a video on him later on about his career, because I do believe that will be his last fight. And one last thing I'd like to say: Floyd is 50-0, and that would put him as the best record of all time in boxing. But I actually don't count that. I still look at him as 49-0 and tied with Rocky Marciano. If Floyd would have fought, I'm not going to just name anybody. If he would have fought any other professional boxing welterweight or junior middleweight in there, then I would count the 50-0 as a good win. But because it was a guy coming from mixed martial arts and it was his first professional fight, the guy has only had like 8 amateur boxing fights. I really can't give Floyd the mark as the greatest record of all time, but he will go down in the top 25, I think, of greatest fighters all time. All right, fight fans, that's all I have. I'm actually about to watch this Cotto fight because I didn't watch it last night. All right, that's all I have. Catch y'all later.